Hey, welcome to another episode of the Blame Game. We're here with Maria again. Today, I want to talk about something that I've been having conversations about. I know Maria's been having conversations around in our coaching and instructor-led training, specifically more towards owners today. As you're working through your goals, your strategic objectives, things that you need to achieve, you're finding that you're not getting them done. Often when we start drilling down into why you're not getting them done, it's because you're too busy fighting fires or caught up in other things. And where do you see them being the most busy with, Maria?
The most busy for owners is sales admin.
Mm.
The amount of owners I speak to who are not have not realized how much time sales admin is taking, and they'll say, I'm going to hire a sales account manager, or I'm going to hire a BDM,
Mm.
when that's not the problem.
Mm. And when they hire those account managers or hire those BDMs, and they generate more work and more quotes come through, and more admin needs to be done, they're in fact making themselves busier a lot of the time, right? Because they now have to do more of the admin work.
Yeah, and
Yep.
it means that they're hiring sales. Very often they'll hire their first salesperson, and they go, "It didn't work out. I ended up doing most of the sales myself," because their salesperson, generally a high-paying individual, highly paid individual, um, is doing is if they are doing sales, the owner's doing sales admin, and if they're not
Mm.
if the owner's not doing the sales admin, if they do give that over, they're giving that over to their very highly paid sales, either account manager or BDM, who's bogged down with admin and doesn't have time to sell.
Yeah.
So you're just creating a vicious cycle. You are setting your new sales rep up for failure.
Yeah. So I'm ignorant on this because I'm a delivery person. How specialized and involved is sales admin? Does it need the most highly paid people in your organization doing it?
No, absolutely not. So
Mm.
sales admin, if you think about, break down the tasks you as a business owner, have a look at what tasks you're doing on you can probably do a spot check on a weekly for a week and say, I'm just going to look at where my time is being used
Mm-hmm.
every week, or every day
Mm-hmm.
for a week. And then you say, well, some of the stuff is very simple. Create a quote. Now, more often than not, the quote doesn't need to be created by somebody with deep dive technical knowledge. It could be something very simple, especially if you've got, say, if you've got your services set up, if you know exactly what you're selling. A quote is a case of putting some items into a document of whatever form you use and sending it to the client. So what you're looking for in a sales admin is somebody who's obviously good at organizing administration things, somebody who's good at connecting and communicating between teams. So if you do need a technical oversight into a quote, you need a sales admin who can say, this client needs a quote for these products. I'm going to get the details I need from somebody within the technical team, the right person within the technical team, and then I'm going to put them in the quote, and then I'm going to send it to the client. So they're organizing. So you want someone who's organized. You want someone who can communicate well, because ultimately, a good sales admin, they're your junior account manager. So that's
Sure.
that career path for a good sales admin. And some people are happy to just be a sales admin, but if somebody wants to progress, that's their career path. So you want someone who's good at communicating, someone who's really good at customer service. So if I was hiring a sales admin today, I'd be looking for someone. I wouldn't look for anyone who necessarily knows our industry. They don't need to know IT. They don't
Sure.
need to know the product. They need to be willing to learn.
Mm.
But it's easy to teach them product. It's a lot harder to teach them customer service skills. So let's hire
Sure.
a customer service, a great person who's good at customer service.
Mhm.
I've seen it done, go into a retail shop and somebody's fantastic service.
Mm.
That's a great step. Let's get people in from outside our industry. We've not got enough people.
Mm.
So be really careful advertising for a sales admin. The other option is, and this was a conversation I was having with a partner the other day, is we call it something like client success. You
Mm.
want them to do a combination role. So we're going to have them doing a customer servicey type, making sure everyone's happy. It's like a low level account management, as well as all the admin for sales.
Okay, sure. With it, so something, talking to your point as well, it doesn't often need to be a full-time role if you're purely just hiring in that sales admin space as well, right? So a lot of people as well looking for return to work people as well, people that have career gaps, working mothers, people, working parents, people that, have kids to pick up, that want to have that flexibility and that time, but, are really, skilled and competent at managing and coordinating things, particularly as you are a parent, you end up kind of having to do it as part of that job. So I think out there, often when we're thinking around the roles that we need to hire for as well, we're thinking around a 40-hour a week type position. And in this case, it just doesn't really need to be in a lot of cases, particularly if you are small enough where you're at that point where you are actually having this consideration, should I get a sales administrator? You don't have one currently. You're probably not spending 40 hours of your week doing it, but you're probably spending way too much of your week doing it. And the bigger you grow, the more work you're going to create for yourself. And as you're creating that work, you want to be the person who's at the helm leading the sales or leading the vision of the company or leading the technology, whatever flavor interests you as the owner or, a director or a senior manager in your organization. You don't want to be the person doing order fulfillment. What type of, you've talked around a few of the characteristics. What would be some of the other things that you think people should look for? Maybe not just for a sales admin, but maybe as well just in terms of a general admin or a coordinator, someone who can coordinate service work or coordinate some projects on the side if you are looking at a full-time job as well. And have you seen that split role work well, or would you recommend against it?
Basically, you're looking for someone who's got really good communication skills.
Mm-hmm.
That's your number one. And people and communication skills. That's your number one priority over for any of those. And I mentioned before, look outside our industry. It's really hard. It's a lot harder to teach those communication skills. We've all tried to do it. We've hired somebody who's the best tech in the world. And then tried to teach them how to communicate with the clients and communicate internally. I'm not saying we don't hire great techs who aren't good at communicating. What I'm saying is, if we need somebody who's very much a communication role, and if that's a coordinator of something within, who sits alongside the tech team, or if that's a sales admin or customer service, that's what we want. We want someone who's got great communication skills. And I think be really careful about not including too much tech in, too much about technology in your job description, because that's going to limit who applies. It's going to limit your talent pool. So really consider that when you're advertising. As I said, organization skills, they're probably the key.
Sure. Okay. Question I have, you said something earlier about, I think it was be careful, or, I guess be considerate when you are advertising for a sales administrator role. What did you mean particularly there?
Too many. We've all seen the job ads where somebody wants an all-round this, that, and the other, and we want you to be able to do all of the things in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Consider what you're looking for. If you say, we are a tech company and we want someone who's super passionate about technology, you will lose people who will be a really great sales admin, because they think, well, I don't really know much about technology. I use a computer to do, some pieces, but I don't know about technology. So, just consider that. no bones about it. Most of the people who apply for a sales admin role are going to be women. It's dominated. That particular role is
Sure.
dominated by women. It is an absolutely known fact. There's loads of research out there about that. Women will
Yeah.
only apply for a job if they feel that they can meet 90% of the
Yeah.
criteria or more.
Yeah. Mm.
Whereas men will apply for a job when they feel they can meet 40% of the criteria.
Yeah. Yeah. Just give it a crack. Yeah.
So if you're advertising a role that is predominantly filled by women, for whatever reason, and again, that option for maybe part-time or some school hour work or something, you are going to open up your field massively. If
Yeah.
you say, I'm willing to have someone from 9:30 till 3, 5 days a week or 4 days a week. But if you are not careful about the language you use,
Yeah.
and if you add a whole lot of extra stuff into this sales admin role that you're thinking of, you're going to lose candidates.
Yeah, absolutely. So be specific with what you're wanting, really, right? And also maybe avoid some of the usual common language that's in a lot of these things. Just things like fast-paced and dynamic are going to turn off a lot of people because it sounds stressful. Sounds like I might get called outside of business hours because it's dynamic. What does dynamic actually mean? Do I have the flexibility or the availability in my own life to be able to deal with those types of things as well? I think that's a really interesting topic that we should cover off at a later point as well. How do you hire more women? And like you said, it is kind of a stereotype. We want an admin person. Let's go hire a woman. Like I initially said, working mothers, and then changed it to working parents because the reality is it's not just stay-at-home mums. I know stay-at-home dads now. But I think, and you mentioned this before, what's the career progression for these people? Because it's not a case, of you hire someone in an admin role and they stay an admin person for good. Unless that's what they want. What should we consider or think about with what's the next step in their career? Like whenever I've hired for a role, I've always tried to consider what are they going to do next? What opportunities can we make for them? Because personally, I'd like to also see women more involved in some of the management and the engagement and the leadership within organizations, as opposed to let's hire them in admin roles and keep them there. So I feel like we're going into a whole different topic.
No, that's fine. Look, we can touch on this now. I've seen really great sales admin, again, if they want to, progressing to be account managers, sales managers. I mean, basically, they're coming in with a client-centric focus. They're good at communication. So if they're good at communication, they're often good at managing people because they're good at, they're good at that side of thing. That's, which is really useful.
Huge part,
So you might find that they will progress on from sales admin quite comfortably. What you're looking for, so I mean, we talked about owners getting bogged down. Have a look at, as an owner, have a look at what time you're spending, and most of your time, if you could free up all of the admin time that you're doing for around that low level account management stuff. I need to coordinate all the reports for my technology business reviews, or I need to get all these quotes out the door, or I need to set up appointments to get all of this, to meet up with all of the clients because it's the end of the year. That can all be done by a sales admin. So if you can free up all of that time, that gives you time to actually be on the phone with the clients, actually meeting with the clients, actually running a business because your role is not just sales. So the first hire, and if you're going to set up any sales account management or BDMs for success, your first hire in a sales team should be a sales admin.
It's all really, really good and great points there. Good and great. I think the specifics I think of, going to your point, is actually track how much time, do it over a month or something. How much time are you spending on this admin stuff? Also keep a track of what your to-do list is and see how you're going with that to-do list. And, I recommend people use things like interruptions logs to see what it is that's stopping them from doing the things they're doing. Maybe do that, create an interruptions log, see how much time you're spending on sales admin, and then just for fun, calculate the amount of time that you do it by what your rough hourly rate is and determine how much it's actually costing you to do the sales admin versus business adding activities. And I'm not talking about the rate that you charge out at, but what you're paying yourself, what you're getting paid.
Yeah.
Is it worthwhile?
And chances are you can afford to hire a sales admin today,
Yeah.
just based on that. Because if you think about it, if you took that time and invested that into speaking with prospects, into speaking with your existing client base, and really developing those relationships, and providing more services to them, you would pay for that sales admin probably 3 or 4 times over within a year. So it's well worthwhile.
Yeah. And like you said as well, it gives that great opportunity to have someone who can have a regular touch point with clients as well, maybe building up their own relationship management and account management skills, helping someone else progress. Potentially you're helping someone else into the workforce. You also can do it ideally at a part-time, so it's not costing you too much and it works around their flexibility. So for me, it seems like a no-brainer. If you're starting to set up your sales team, look at that sales admin so that you can focus on the big picture.
Absolutely.
Great. Thanks, Maria. That was a great chat, and we'll catch up again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Nathan.
Cheers.